नमस्ते फ्रेंड, आप सभी का एक बार फिर से वेलकम। और फ्रेंड्स, एमसी सिंगला केस, बैंक पेंशन अपडेशन केस एमसी सिंगला वर्सेस यूनियन ऑफ इंडिया जब से 20 मार्च 25 के लिए हियरिंग के लिए फिक्स्ड हुआ है, तब से हमारे बैंक पेंशनर साथियों का एक आशा लगी हुई है कि शायद इस बार कुछ न कुछ अच्छा हो जाए। आइए पूरी वीडियो सुनते हैं, और इसके पहले आप सभी को धन्यवाद जिन्होंने मेरा चैनल सब्सक्राइब किया है। फ्रेंड्स, अभी कुछ दिनों पहले हमारे 90 वर्षीय एक्स बैंकर साथी ने, जो एक्स बैंकर चीफ एग्जीक्यूटिव स्टेट बैंक ऑफ इंडिया श्री राव साहब ने संजीव खन्ना चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया को पत्र लिखा था और गुहार लगाई थी, अपील किया था कि कम से कम इस केस की सुनवाई हो। इसके पहले भी हमारे एक्स बैंकर साथी ने लिखा था, और अब श्री जी.एन. शुक्ला जी इलाहाबाद से, जो हमारे पेंशन एक्टिविस्ट हैं, उन्होंने भी, जो जजेस इस सुनवाई कर रहे हैं, इस केस की सुनवाई कर रहे हैं, जस्टिस विक्रम नाथ, जस्टिस संजय करोल एंड जस्टिस संदीप मेहता, इनको एड्रेस करते हुए एक अपील पुनः किया है। हालांकि ये सच है कि जुडिशरी में हम किसी प्रकार का इन्फ्लुएंस नहीं कर सकते हैं, लेकिन अपनी बात रखने के लिए जहां हमें लगता है कि कम से कम हम इस बात का निवेदन कर सकते हैं कि ये किस केस की कम से कम सुनवाई हो, उन्होंने पत्र लिखा और लिखा कि रिस्पेक्टफुली प्रेड टू कंसीडर द फॉलोइंग्स। फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, वी बेग योर पार्डन फॉर राइटिंग दिस एप्लीकेशन if it is not within the prescribed rules and procedures of the Honorable Court. We are unaware of the prescribed rules and even not financially competent to take help of some competent advocate. Therefore, keeping our compulsions in view, this application may please be looked into purely on the humanitarian grounds. उन्होंने अपना इंट्रोडक्शन देते हुए लिखा दैट आई जे.एन. शुक्ला 78 सन ऑफ लेट श्री हरिहर प्रसाद शुक्ला और प्रयागराज से ई देना बैंक एंड पेंशनर सिंस जुलाई 2008. Like me, there are over 7,80,000 pensioner of public sector banks. In addition to some 4 lakhs would be pensioner still in job. The pension agreement dated 29th October 93 covers many private banks, so aggregate number may expand to over 15 lakhs. Whatever I state through this application are based on my factual information, lawful agreements, understandings, and government advices and approvals. There is nothing untrue in this, nor is anything suppressed. That a SLP in the Honorable Supreme Court for pension revision is filed by petition number 5561/2016 by MC Singla Dead and other versus Union of India, which has now been accepted for hearing as CA number 7993/2023. This case is listed in your Honorable Court on 20th March 25 for hearing. That the case was filed in Honorable Punjab and Haryana High Court, were dismissed and is now under consideration in the Honorable Supreme Court. About 1.5 lakh pensioners have died in the last 13 years, and the process of this departing is going on regularly basis. In such a situation, there is an urgent need of speedy justice. That bank pensioners are getting pension on the basic pay on their retirement time since 1st January 86 under the pension scheme agreement dated 29th October 93. There have never been any pension updation. Through the Forum of Bank Pension Activists, Prayagraj and many others, we have been writing to the management, the government of India, but of no relief. Pensioners' eyes are stuck to the Honorable Supreme Court for justice. That the prescribed pension on the basic pay at the time of retirement of bank pensioner is continuing unchanged. The wages of the bankmen have been revised at every 5 years from 1st November 87. The pension of pensioners of 1st January 86 and 31st October 87 was revised only once in relation to the fifth wage settlement, which came into force from 1st November 1987. The pension was not revised relative to the last 7 wage revision from 92 to 2022. 7th, in class 12 of the pension agreement dated 29th October 93 under ID Act, it is clearly and exclusively agreed that all terms and conditions, including pension revision, will be on the RBI line. In the meeting of 26 March 94, convened for approval of the draft of the bank employees pension regulations, on the basis of pension agreement, the pension regulations was approved and management and the unions further discussed and accepted in the same meeting that pension updation shall be on the RBI line. It is recorded in the minutes of a small committee meeting on 26 March 94. It is a matter of regret that pension revision in Reserve Bank of India has been going on, but the pension of the bank pensioner has not been revised relative to RBI in utter violation of pension agreement. 8 point, that RBI pension scheme is the bedrock of the bank pension scheme. It has been stated in the pension agreement dated 29th October 93, discussed and accepted in a small committee meeting of 26 March 94, and reiterating this in a meeting held on 10th November 97 between bank management and unions, in which clause 22.4b of the bank pension regulation 1995 was agreed to be deleted because there was no such clause in RBI pension scheme. 9th, that in this way the pension agreement 29th October 93, decisions of a small committee meeting of 26 March 94 and meeting of 10th 11th 97 for deletion of clause 22.4 affirm in the most ambiguous terms that RBI pension scheme is the bedrock of bank pension scheme. Whatever is in the RBI pension scheme, that is in bank pension scheme, we beg your permission to draw the attention of the Honorable Court towards the uniformity of the RBI pension and the bank pension scheme. RBI pension scheme agreement was reached in 1990 and the bank's pension scheme agreement on similar terms were reached on 29th October 93. RBI and other banks have uniformity in pension scheme even after varying business nature, operations and the legal status. For example, despite the pension agreement being on different rates in RBI and other banks, they were implemented from 1st January 86. Second, in RBI and other banks, pension revision was done in the light of the pay revision agreement that has been done till the time of pension agreement. That is, the salary was revised from 1st November 87 in both places. So the pension of pensioner of 1st January 86 and 31st October 87 was also revised. Third, pension scheme is based on agreement under ID Act both in RBI and in other banks. Fourth, pension both in RBI and other banks is a quid pro quo deal. The pension option was given under the condition that those who adopt the pension option would have to surrender the bank's PF contribution with accrued interest. Those who retired by pension agreement dated 29th October 93, they had to refund the bank's share of PF contributions along with interest they got on retirement with 6% per interest per annum simple interest rate of thereupon to get pension from the next month of retirement. 10th, that in RBI and other banks, the pension revision along with pay revision was from the date of pension implementation. Bank employees pension regulation 95 class 35(1) was basically inserted for this and it was implemented. In 2003, class 35 was amended content of 1st January 86 and 31st October 1987 was deleted and amended clause 35(1) has been retained in the Pension Regulation 1995. Second element, that the Indian Bank Association, which in its own admission is not a government department, is not a statutory body, regulator, nor the owner of banks, nor does it give any order to banks. It is purely a voluntary organization that works as a facilitator on the common issue of the member banks. In MC Singla case, IBA has filed an affidavit on 24th August 22 in which it has stated that under in para 3.7 that there is no provision in pension regulation in 95 for any updation in the pension of the bank employees and officers, that therefore it would neither be appropriate in principle nor would be financially viable for the banks to accept the representation claim of the employee for updation of pension at par with the central government employees, particularly when there is no parity between the two set of employees, that is the central government employee and the bank employees, inter alia, for the reasons that the pension in the banks is paid out of pension fund created out of the bank's contribution to the PF, whereas in respect of central government employees, the pension is paid not out of pension fund but is treated as revenue expenditure and paid out of the budgetary allocation. The Indian Bank Association lied in its affidavit that in Bank Employees Pension Regulation 95, there is no provision for any pension updation for bank employees and officers. The IBA said this while suppressing clause 35(1) of the pension updation. The provision of pension updation has been from 1st January 86, and while implementing the pension updation was also been done in relation to the 5th pay revision agreement. IBA suppressed this material fact to deceive and mislead Honorable Supreme Court to derive undue favor. Second, IBA's statement is baseless that the bank pensioners are repenting claiming pension at par with the central government pensioner. Bank pensioners are demanding pension updation on the RBI line, which is the agreed condition of their pension agreement. It is another matter that clause 56 of the pension regulation 95 mentions that in event of any dispute while implementing pension regulations, banks may resolve the dispute in due regard of Central Civil Services Rules 72 and Central Civil Services Rules 81 with prior approval of the government. That the salaries of the central government implies pension or the other expenses come from budgetary provisions. The government's income is based on taxes, returns on its investments, etc. Banks are the commercial entities. Their entire expenses are met from their income they generate from their commercial activities. That, as stated above in RBI, NABARD, banking, LIC, etc., pension is a quid pro quo deal between management and unions. Bankmen had to surrender the PF contribution of the banks with accrued interest for pension to administer pension funds and smooth payment of pension. Banks constituted trust and deposited with it the CPF plus interest returned by the bankmen in lieu of the pension. That is, it is the contractual obligations of the banks to always keep pension funds viable to pay pension. For this, every year on March 31st, every bank carry out actuarial calculation of pension funds and replenish the reported shortfalls, if any, in actuarial reports from their profit and loss account. That for the information of the Honorable Court, we would like to give below the financial position of the pension funds of the 12th bipartite settlement for year 23-24. Accordingly, as of 31st March 23, rupees 3,37,974.89 crores was in the pension fund of the 12th public sector bank. और एक तरह से पूरा डाटा उन्होंने दिया कि क्या क्या है, और डाटा मैं आपको रिवील पढ़ नहीं रहा हूँ. That is in the noteworthy there here that pension funds can be used only and only for the payment of pension and the family pension. Banks have been grabbing the rights of pensioner by adopting various tactics. First, they created two pay scale reduced pension. Secondly, for 2 decades, the pensioners of pre-November 2002 were deprived of thousands of crores by not giving them 100% denuclearization. Thirdly, banks have spread millions of crores of rupees of the bank pensioner in last 38 years by not updating pension with salary updation. That fourthly, the greatest harm management perpetrated from 1st November 12 through another trick. The banks have started reducing pensionary gains by cutting basic pay by a certain percentage and renamed it as a special allowance, excluding it from the pension and gratuity calculation. This has reduced pensionary gains from 1st November 12 to 31st October 17. 1st November 17 to 31st October 22 and 1st November 22 onwards from 50% to 45.5%, 41% and 36% respectively, while it should be 50% under pension agreement and the pension regulations. This dispute is also under consideration in the Honorable Supreme Court. It has been quashed by the double bench of the Honorable Nainital High Court. 14 petitions against special allowance are pending in various Honorable High Courts, which is also under consideration in Honorable Supreme Court to listen duly clubbed together. Prayer. Most respectfully prayed for early hearing and speedy decision, as pensioners are fast dying species. They are under extreme financial difficulties, while they should not, if their pension would have been updated along with wage revisions as envisaged in Pension Agreement Regulation 95. Shri G.N. Shukla, National Convener, Forum of Bank Pensioner Activist from प्रयागराज। बड़ी आशाएं हैं न्याय व्यवस्था से और न्याय व्यवस्था पर, ताकि कुछ न कुछ, क्योंकि हम अपने नेताओं के पास जा नहीं सकते, तो कम से कम न्याय व्यवस्था से एक गुहार है